Happy early Tuesday, everyone. This is my daily vlog, episode 8, and I'd like to talk about the masks that we wear. It's easy to take up a mask of personality so that people can accept us. We decide how we're going to be in this world so that we can have a certain relation to people around us. A lot of people decide that what their parents want them to do is what they should do, or what their friends think that they should do is what they should do. Or people decide that, and it's still a relation to family and friends, people decide that they should go in a completely different direction in a desire to be independent, but it still has a relation to what people think of us, the people that are closest to us. It really tears us apart when our family and friends don't accept us. So a lot of the time, the solution is to slightly change how we view ourselves and how we act. And how we act in the world is influenced by, our family and friends, like I said, and that desire for independence. But most people are of a magnitude in between these two. Influence and a desire to be individual. As human beings, we have a desire to think for ourselves innately, because we have the ability to understand ourselves innately. As sentient beings, as sentient animals on this earth, this planet in the middle of nowhere. And because it is much easier to adopt ideas that allow us to cooperate with those around us, it's very hard to understand what kind of consciousness we're born with. People live their entire lives without truly understanding who they are, and most of the time make choices to make it easier to exist, but not choices that truly bring out our own innate potential. The personality traits that we accept as part of us, whether it be from influence or a desire to be individual or our own interpretation of ideology and stimuli in the world, these things all play into the way we think about ourselves. Oftentimes, most of the time, the way we think about ourselves is not composed of what we truly want, but what is easiest to adapt and adopt in the world so that we can communicate better. Throughout human history, these expectations of family and friends have influenced the smallest people, the people who are unknown, and the greatest people. For instance, Hitler, one of his family members that was Jewish beat him, and this gave him a bad idea of Jewish people in general, because he decided that it was because that this person was Jewish that they did this, and not because this person was just a bad person. And that shaped a lot of human history based on the actions of Hitler, based on what he interpreted as being a class that was against him, that was cruel, and so he wanted to fight back against it. When we look at the South during Jim Crow laws and segregation and things like that, we see that most of the people in the South, it's not necessarily that they were born racist, because nobody can be really born racist unless they have some kind of mental deficiency to see people as different from one another, not be able to see that everyone's similar. A lot of people in the South viewed black people as less, because their parents, their grandparents, and their ancestors thought that people with a different skin color, a different culture, a different ethnicity were not as good as them, that white people were the best. And obviously we should enslave black people because they're not of the same status as we are, so we should just use them. And that ignorance was passed down generation after generation. And it was truly the influence of peers and family members and friends that caused many people to view slavery as acceptable in the South in the United States, and in every part of the world, but I'm specifically talking about this. And when we can truly see how the influences in our lives can really hurt the people around us based on the mask of personality we choose from the input we receive from those we know in slavery. We can see how it can destroy entire civilizations and hurt generations of people when we accept an idea from a family member or a friend that is easier to believe because it's the reality, because slavery was the reality. And we accept it because we want to fit in with the other people that we view as our peer group. Now, when we adopt these certain personality traits, whatever they are, it's kind of like you're turning on a flashlight and blinking it, blinking it, blinking it. Whether you hate this certain group, you blink that flashlight. Whether you decide to be a more honest person, you blink that flashlight. Whether you decide to follow a certain religion, you blink that flashlight. Whatever decision you make in your life, and whatever ideology or personality trait you adopt, you're blinking that flashlight for a second. It's part of the analogy, but the analogy is that you're blinking it for a second. Here, 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 here. And the intelligent person, after a while, after all the decisions they've made, they'll be able to follow those beams of light, and at least their memory of the beams of light in this analogy, and find from where they act. Consciousness is not something we understand right out of the womb. It's only something we can understand based on contemplation about our actions and the actions of others and how things truly exist. And you follow those beams of light to wherever, from whatever stance, whatever place you decided from, and you can find the root consciousness, your soul, your particular individual soul. You can find it by following the choices that you've made. And all the masks that exist kind of just behind the beams of light, but not quite at consciousness, to continue this analogy, they can either show us a more direct path to consciousness, or they can blur the light and make us believe that we are purely the masks, purely our decisions in life and the decisions of our ancestors, our friends and our family, and view that as who we are. But in truth, we have to follow these decisions in order to figure out from where we truly exist. The source of consciousness is in every single person, especially in sentient beings. And it's not always apparent, but we must try and figure out why we do what we do, and who we want to be, and why we want to be this or that person. And if we examine these questions, we'll find the source and the root of where we act and who we truly are. And that is what I've been thinking about all day, is that where does consciousness lie? How can one figure out how one should exist in this world based on one's unique consciousness? Now, I believe consciousness is more of more something that's projected based on receiving it from the source that is God, the All. I don't believe the brain is a transmitter of consciousness, but a receiver of consciousness. But even if consciousness is received, as I believe, it's still coming very uniquely and very absolutely for one's existence from a source. And I believe that source is God. But I'm curious to see what other people think about this. Please comment, and even if you don't agree with me, please comment. And if you don't like this idea, hit the thumbs down. If you like this idea or this made you think, hit the thumbs up. And I would love more subscribers. But please let me know what you think, and just think about who you are and why you are as you are, and how you can become more of what you truly want to be deep within inside yourself, deep where your consciousness truly lies. And that's all I got to say today. I'll see y'all tomorrow when I make another vlog. Thank you.